Welcome to this new episode of Personal Knowledge Management for Research. This is our second episode of the Tools for Thought onboarding series. So the goal is for us to see what's the feeling, what's the experience of onboarding a new PKM tool. So my name is Bianca Pereira and I am a PKM coach and a researcher, and as any researcher, a knowledge creator. So it's really important for us to know how can a new tool help us in the process of doing research, in the process of creating knowledge. So that's the goal for this Tools for Thought onboarding series. So in today's episode, we'll be learning a little bit more about Scrintal. And Scrintal is a web app that mixes the ideas of mind mapping and note making. So it's not only about taking notes, but how can we visually organize our notes? Scrintal is a tool that has an important place in my heart because I really like it. And the first time I onboarded Scrintal was when it was still a drawing. So there was no Scrintal as an app yet. So it was very interesting for me to go through the process again and see how all new users are onboarding the tool. And actually I could even learn a few new things. So I tried to go through the whole onboard experience as if I was not a user yet. So you could see everything that is going on. So I try to not put so much of my own knowledge of the tool into it, so you can have a full experience of how the onboarding is with the team. So what you see in a while, it's the recording of how the onboarding session with Scrintal was. No post-production, no cuts, the onboarding exactly as it was. So without further ado, let's get started. Hello, Etty.
Hi, Bianca.
Thanks a lot for having this onboarding today. So I think a good way to start would be like, can you tell us a little bit about what is Scrintal, how it came about, and what it is now?
Of course. Firstly, thank you so much for giving me a place in this onboarding series. And what is Scrintal is what we call a visual knowledge base. So in Scrintal, we simply combined, which you will see in a short time, these white spaces, like white canvases that you can freely think and brainstorm with rich text documentation, actually, so that you can really go from random ideation to developed work in the same screen, in the same place, without switching apps. And the beautiful thing is, in many mind maps, whatever you create, it just sticks still in the post-it notes. They're not findable, they're not reusable. But in Scrintal, we have these cards that can turn into full documents, and they're fully findable, reusable. So you create visual knowledge blocks, basically, that you can reuse. That's maybe what Scrintal is. And I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Scrintal. And until now, we have a wait list, and we onboarded nearly 300 people with this 101 onboardings. So you will see how one of those onboardings are going, and I hope you will enjoy it. And very soon, we're launching these self-onboardings. So we will onboard so many more users without a personal help. So yeah, stay tuned. You will be able to use Scrintal very soon.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks. So I really like what you say, go from ideation to development, every in one place, because usually I'm like, but how can I connect all those pieces here so that I can do ideation in one place and have the file in another place, have the end product in another place. So it's really nice that it describes like ideation to the development. So that's really nice.
Thank you.
So I think we can start the onboarding. So.
Yeah, of course. So I'm just going to onboard you, Bianca, the way we onboard any user. So the first thing we would ask you to go to beta.scrintal.com in your browser, and we work on every browser.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you will need to log in with your email.
Yeah, I think I will share my screen.
Okay, you can, if you want, share your screen after you do the login, because you might need to click on the magic link that comes to your email.
So that's personal.
Yeah. So when you're logged in, you can start screen sharing.
Yeah, I logged in. and say check my email.
Mm-hmm.
So just open my email now. Log into Scrintal. And I'm in.
Perfect. Whenever you're ready, you can share your screen.
So
Perfect. Cool. So now I'm gonna guide you with this arrow. Can you see my arrow?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So basically this is Scrintal, and what we suggest that you do, if you can bookmark this page so you can go there again, that would be perfect. Okay, and here, like just to show you around a little bit, as you can see, it looks like a complete white space. And here, like there is a button, we will click it later together. These are some of the desk buttons, and we will go about them, like what they're doing individually. But the first thing we do to an onboarded user is to make them click on these three dots. Here, exactly. So, and this is the place where you log out. If you do not click here, you will always be logged in that browser. Many people prefer this actually. And this is to clear your local cache if you ever need it. And this is the place where you can import your Markdown archives. And we take Markdown archives with their bidirectional links and also tags. But no, if there is a file attached or image attached or embedded, it's not coming, it's not imported to Scrintal, just so you know. The important part to say, I think, is these desktop applications. So after the onboarding, you can totally download an application for Mac and for Windows, and you will be able to use it on your desktop. But still, you can use Scrintal in your mobile browser and also in iPad browser if you want to take some notes there. And simply like these are places where you can click and find some use cases for inspiration. All the shortcuts are here and some frequently asked questions like what is a card? How do I link things in Scrintal? Okay, but let's start with creating a card together actually. So you can double click anywhere to create a card. So let's use that mode firstly. Perfect. And what's the next project that you will be working on, Bianca, so that we rename this card with that?
My course.
Your course. Okay, let's write it like the course. My course. Perfect. And here, like, what are some of the steps or sections in your course? Can it be like introduction or anything?
It could be like the content itself.
It can be, yeah, content.
Like the tech stack.
Perfect. Yeah.
And then another things. Marketing.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yeah, so I made you do that because we will create linked cards right now. So the first way to create a linked card is, can you please select the content? Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, can you please press this plus? Exactly. So when you press the plus, what happens is a new card is created. And also, if you scroll in the cards, you will see like the links and the backlinks of them, that it's there. Yeah. And now let's actually close these cards together. We can close a card with escape when your cursor is there, or we can do shift and escape and close multiple cards at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Shift escape, perfect. So now you can see that like the moment you link cards, they're also visually linked. So you can click once on any of these cards, and now you can move the card anywhere that you would want, exactly. So that you can create the visuality that you desire. Yeah. And we can double click and open this card as well. Yeah. And there is a second way to create linked cards, and that is to putting your cursor in the beginning of this text stack. Yep. And now can you press plus on your keyboard? Yeah. And now like what happens is like there is an archive that's searching for any card titles that starts with text stack. Apparently there were not any. So now in order to create a new card, you can put your cursor in the end of text stack. Yeah. And now click create text stack. Yeah. So you created a new link card, and this was the second way of creating linked cards, basically. And do you have like any questions or any comments on this?
I'm familiar with this. I just like, I always, every time I'm onboarding anything, I see like option like type slash and other things. I want to click on everything.
Yes.
But I'm going with you. Okay.
Okay, perfect. But like the next thing we were going to do is like let's like type the slash actually in text tag. Yeah. So when you type the slash, you can see all the upload or embed things that you can do basically. And if you have like, you can also copy paste any of these files or any YouTube video or any image or just drag and drop. It works with everything. So you can do slash today, tomorrow, and also like add the date. Yeah, exactly. Or if you have a copy of a tweet or a YouTube video, we can try just adding them as well.
I really like the tweets one.
Yeah, because I think like
this one is a video. I copy the tweets link here.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So it's basically taking the data live. So if anything changes here, it will also be changing. And as you can see, you can like go over like this tweet and click on this button in order to extract it. Exactly. And now you can move this like anywhere by moving it from the header. Exactly. Yeah. So what you can do is like, we can close those cards. Exactly. We can do Shift Escape, close the cards, or just close this one as well. Yeah. And now you can like still move in Scrintal. And you will see that like that tweet is basically like pinned to your board. So we can move in on the desk and we will see that it's simply there. Yeah.
And it's still actionable, right?
Exactly. Exactly. It's live, and you will see that like the likes will increase. I think it's like especially good for people like you who use Twitter quite often. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. Okay. And we can close this if we want to. Yeah. So basically like we did like the text editor, and we saw like some things that we can do, and let's actually work on the visuality of these cards a little bit. So you can, what we can do is, oh no, firstly, let's create text, sorry. Okay, so we can double click open a card. Yeah, and we don't have a folder structure in Scrintal. So what we do is like we create tags. So we can put your cursor anywhere in this card. Yeah, and can you press hashtag? Yeah, and when you press hashtag, you will see that like this opens, like the search opens, showing you all the hashtags that you created, just to remind you as well. You can like start typing, like you can create a new hashtag, or yeah, for example, course. Yeah, and if you click on that, you will be creating a new hashtag, basically. That's course. Yeah, and if you ever want to like tag multiple cards with this hashtag, like for example, the other cards that you had, we can just move this card or close it. It's up to you. Yeah, and we can select like the other two cards by selecting the area, or do or it's up to you, like how you want to select them. You can do it command and select as well. Yes. And now you can do, if it's a Mac, like Option and T.
Option. I never remember which one is option.
Okay. Or like, let me remind myself. Okay, perfect. So now you can just write course, basically. Exactly. Yeah, and then apply. Yeah, so this is the way to like tag multiple cards. And the nice thing is, if we click on these tags, yeah, our archive opens. showing us all the cards with that tag basically. And in the archive, which we will go in more like later, we can like open these cards, like take a preview by pressing here. Yeah, we can see what they include and like scroll. And later on, you will see that we can select these cards and bring them to our desk with drag and drop. Okay, and we can just close this archive by pressing anywhere. Exactly, yeah. Okay, so let's do Shift and Escape and close these cards.
I think just one question that I think is relevant here. Those tags, they are per card, right? I cannot just say tag a line, because depending on what people are used to, they are used to tag a line or a paragraph. So these tags are per card. Right?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's per card. That's correct. So you will be in the archive, you will be finding the cards rather than the lines. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so now like let's change like how these cards look a little bit. So we can, if we want to do the change to all cards, we can just select the whole area, or we can do Command A basically to select all cards on the desk. So Command A is selecting everything, yeah. And now you can press F on your keyboard. Yeah, so pressing F is folding the cards, and you can press F one more time. Yeah, that's unfolding the cards. And you can do this action simply by clicking here as well. Yeah, or with all of these actions, you can do them by like right-clicking one of the cards. Yeah, and then do the fold selected cards. Exactly, yeah. And that's like folding, and we can change the colors of these cards. So we can again, like do Command A, select all these cards. Yeah, and now we can do Option and C. Yeah, so now the color palette opens, and we can simply select one of the colors. Yeah, as I said, like if you're not a fan of shortcuts, you can simply do these actions by right-clicking on one of the cards, not on desk though, and then you will see the option change color or select color, basically. Perfect. Okay. And just so that like I show you a little bit about like these desk tools. So this first button is for navigation, and it's not really like, it's especially useful if you're using a mouse or like if you're using Windows. So you can click once on this and then go around in the whiteboard. But the same thing is like the shortcut for this, but basically like pressing on the space bar and going around is doing the same thing. Or just pressing the shortcut M on your keyboard is doing the exact same thing. M for moving. Exactly. Yeah. But if you have a MacBook, then you wouldn't really need this. And the second one, the second card is another way to create a card. You can click once on it and then move your cursor. Yeah, so you will see the shadow of that card, and you can just with one click place it anywhere on your desk that you wish. Exactly. So now if you want to populate this card, you can. If you don't want to, you can simply delete the card. Yeah. From here, exactly. Exactly. And then the third one is like to create a daily card. It basically like lets you create, it works exactly the same way. One click and then move your cursor and leave it anywhere. Exactly. And it puts the current date, today's date as the title. Exactly. And the fourth one is actually creating a table. It's a new feature that we experimented with a little bit, and it works like the same way as these cards. We click once on it and then we move it. Yeah, and it starts a table. So you can either create a card there, or you can move these cards inside here actually. Yeah, you can just leave it there. Yeah. And you can change the title, double click and change the title. Exactly. Important. And then just enter or save. Yeah. And you can add columns like that. It's basically a visual widget that lets you create some Kanban boards or some tables. And it's super simple. So you can create cards inside or move these cards inside it. And but the important thing to know is that this is not saved in the archive, which you will see now. So if you actually select it and then press delete and backspace, the table is gone, basically. You can, of course, bring it back with Command and Z. It will come back, yeah, but you can't really save the table. I will show you how we can save the whole board so that we bring it back.
A question. I noticed that like if I remove the table, then the card goes with it. Like the cards
Exactly. It goes with it, but as you know, like we like save all the cards in the archive. So obviously those cards you can find them in the archive and re-bring it to your desk. So they are not deleted completely. Yeah.
It just disappear from the screen at the moment.
Exactly, exactly. And okay, so before we go to archive and boards, let's like double click open this card. And just to show you, like we can also open cards with Option and O. So you can select a card or many cards and open with Option and O. But these things, I just want to show you this. This is to move blocks, basically. So you can move any block within cards, or you can duplicate it across cards. And it's useful. I use it like especially when I upload a file, upload a PDF that I don't want to do the upload again. So I simply, we can move it here. Yeah. So when you do it across the cards, it simply duplicates. Yeah. And we can go to focus mode maybe with this. Yeah. So that's for focus mode. So this is for writing even further. And when you're in the focus mode, we can scroll down a bit maybe. You can open like links to those cards. We can click on this link. Yeah. And it will open on the sidebar, and we can resize these windows if we wish. Exactly. Yeah. And we can swap the cards. Yeah. So that what we focus on and what we like look can also change. And we can get out of these modes again with escape. So one escape closes the sidebar. Yeah. The other escape closes the other one. Do you have some questions?
Well, I just like enjoy. I just remember because here on the desktop, but then it's also nice to see that on the mobile. Because yeah,
exactly.
I can tell at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you should tell it actually. Like whenever you want to. I guess in the mobile, I really like this. How the focus mode is working. When you open a card, it goes to a focus mode, and the links are basically you can open them at the end of the page. So the swapping in the mobile version, I think, is pretty powerful and it's pretty good. Yeah. Okay. So we can, if you want, get out of this focus mode again. Yes. And now maybe like one final thing that I didn't show was like, again, like opening the cards and locating them on the desk. Yeah. Can you move this card somewhere? Yeah. And now, yes, can you please press this button? Yeah. So that's what we call locate button. Sometimes like the desk might have too many cards, and if you click on locate, it basically centers the whiteboard on that card. So in this representation, we didn't have that many cards, so maybe it didn't make much sense to do that. But if you're a bit far away and click that, like to locate button, it basically centers the board to that.
Now,
so
for
then,
example, I lost everything.
Sorry?
Now I move it away with this scroll.
Yeah, and now can you press? Exactly, yeah. So now you're back to where you were. Yeah. And here, like you can also export the cards if you want from these three dots. Yeah, you can delete the cards. You can, the sharing is open for you, and sharing is like currently open to a couple of users. So you can share the cards with someone, work collaboratively on that card. Actually, you will see each other's cursors. We can change colors, download as Markdown, or save as PDF. And this copy link to card is useful if the card is shared and you're just sharing the URL with someone, like come here. And you, this way, like you can delete cards also. Okay, so now like let's talk a little bit about, okay, you created like these cards, now what to do. So you have as a user two options actually. So what you can do is you can either, like we call this desk is your daily desk, so you can use it for everything that you're using on that day. Like you can bring your meeting notes. So if you feel like, okay, this desk, the things that you created, you want to actually keep them in Scrintal, but you don't want to create a visual board out of it. Maybe you just want to send them to archive. You just want to save them, but you don't want to work with them visually at that stage. So you can actually select the cards. Yeah. Yeah. And now you can just press delete or backspace. Yeah. So now what happens is when you just press delete or backspace, those cards are sent to your archive. And if we open the archive like that, just pressing on it, you will see that, yeah, like the text stack and content are basically there. So from the archive, you can see that it's structured as a timeline. We can either like select cards from the timeline, just one click on them. Yeah, we can click multiple cards as well. Yeah, and now we can just drag and drop it to our desk. Yeah, if we want to actually see them on our desk. Yeah, so how the archive is working, right now we can do a keyword search, that we search anything that's in the title, or we can just click on a tag. For example, we can, if you like, just find the tag. Yeah, just course, for example, and we can do select all, for example. Yeah, and when we do select all, it selects all the cards with that tag. And you might be asking why it's not turning these two to purple, because they're already on desk. So the only card was missing, like not on desk because it's on table, it's my course. So if you want, you can bring it to your desk. Yeah. Okay, but the second way, so if you feel like you created some nice things that took your daily notes, you can just send them to your archive. But if it turns into a project like my course, you care about how it looks visually, then what people do is to create a board out of them. So we can create a board like that. Yeah. Okay, and now we can change the board's name to whichever name that you like. Exactly. Yeah. And the boards are also like findable from the archive. So you can like go to the archive and click on the boards. Yeah. So you will see your mini boards, and if you click once on the boards, you will go to that board, that specific board, and they're also searchable. Yeah. So now we created a board out of this. And what we can do with this board is we can publicly share them. We can just click on it and it will not be shared yet. Yeah. So if we do publish this board, a secret URL will be created that you can share with a non-Scrintal user. So they can go in, open this in their browser, and they can just read the content. They can open the cards as well, go to focus mode, but they can't change the content. And you can change the board's content, and you will just do republish them to sync the URL basically. And you, yeah.
Yeah, well, just one question. Like, I think it's important to about boards is that does a card exist in just one board? Like, I need to choose which board it will go. How does it work?
No, so the one card can exist in multiple places. So the whole system is based on these single cards, and that single card can take place in across multiple boards, still be on your desk as well. So it's reusable across projects. So I, for example, have many cards about Scrintal, like what Scrintal is, and I use it in my like go-to-market strategy board, in my product roadmap board, so that I reuse the same information.
Because I think like for research is very important, because when I talk about PKM, I talk about idea-based PKM, let's say. So then like the card is the idea, but
Yeah,
then you
exactly.
can have a board about one project, and you can use the
Exactly.
idea maybe in another project, or you can have a board for a paper that you're studying. So there are like 100 ideas that came out of the paper. So the board, it could be also in a board about the paper or something like that.
Exactly. And we have like, for example, product roadmap card that I use across multiple contexts and share with multiple people in boards. And in boards, like you can see this person image here. So boards are shareable as well. And right now, like the collaboration is quite basic in Scrintal. So you either share one card with someone else and you edit it together. And if you share this board with a Scrintal user, they will have access to all the cards on this board. And they can create new cards and change the content of these cards. But a good question that comes sometimes, like, for example, what happens if this card has 10 links, but only 9 of them are on this board, and I shared this board with someone else? And can that person access to the 10th link of this card that's not on the board? And the question is no. So whatever you see on this board is accessible. Whatever you cannot see is not accessible, basically.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That's very important.
Yeah, exactly. And you can, in this bi-directional links, we can give links to the boards as well. So we can open any of these cards. Yeah. And we press plus on our keyboard? Yeah. And do you have a board name that you remember, or we just write? Yeah, we can. My course. Yeah. So you can give links to boards. Yeah, and that link is different, like the color is different than a cart link, as you can see. So when someone clicks exactly there, they will go to that board. Yeah, I think it makes navigation a bit more easier in Scrintal, like giving links to the boards as well. And yeah, you can see that the links, and also there's an appears in section. So if this card appears in multiple boards, you will see what boards it appears. And can you expand this my course? Yeah, click there. Yes, thank you. So you can see that like this card appears in my course board, and here like the system is showing you other cards that's on this board. So it again makes like jumping easier.
Yeah, I found this really good, because many of the times, like we say, we want to jump on a link that is inside a card or a note, let's say, but we don't want to have to open, because I need to open the note, click on the link, open the note, click on the link. But here I don't need to actually open the notes. As soon as I go here, I just go down to the link.
Exactly. Yeah. And so what else we can do is like, okay, we can close this card, and let me show you like our spotlight search. So can you do Command Shift and K? Yeah, so if you do Command Shift and K, a spotlight search opens, and you can type anything like my course, for example, because you already have that. Yeah, so you will see that these are cards and these are boards. And if you do open this board, you will open it, and you can see the metadata of the cards and also like a bit of preview of the cards. So if you want to search quickly this way and jump to a different board or card, you can do so.
And it search the content as well of the cards, or just the title of the cards?
That's a really good question. It's coming very soon for us, searching the content of the card. We will do like a whole revamp in the search, like including searching the tag, searching the whole content. That's coming very soon for us. Yeah. So right now it's titles, but maybe if people watch this a couple months later, it will be different. Yeah. And we get out of the spotlight search basically by clicking anywhere else. Exactly. Yeah. Okay, so one of the final things was, yeah, we can, whenever you want, for example, you can open the archive, bring even more cards that lives like in the system basically from another board. And so nothing is bound by projects or like folders. And if you want to, like this shared one, if you're using it with other people, if you deselect it, uh, of like you will only see your own cards. So I use it with 5 other people basically. So my card number changes quite a lot when I select shared and deselect it. And this select all, we went over it, that it actually selects everything.
I'll not do that. I have 1,271. So
Yeah,
I'll leave it like
but
that.
it's good. Like, for example, if you do a keyword search like product or anything and do select all, then it's, yeah, content, yeah, 21. It's going to select 21 cards so that you can bring them to the desk. Okay, and so for the boards, basically, what we can do is, as I said, you can publish them. If you want to delete boards, you can totally do so. And if you delete a board, the important thing to know is that the cards in the board is not deleted. So the boards in Scrintal are just a visual representation. So like the Legos in it can live across different visual representations. And when you delete it, you're just deleting that representation, not the cards. Sometimes like people ask, I want to delete all of these cards. So I say then do Command A and then right click and do delete permanently for the cards. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I figure one of the things that is important is that if I delete permanently from one board, I actually delete permanently from the whole archive, right?
If you delete a board, you mean if you
No,
delete a
the
card
cards,
permanently?
yeah.
Exactly. If you delete a card, it's totally gone. So that's why like we have this, if you just don't want to have this card in the board, then you just click once on it and then press backspace or delete. Remove from board action. Yeah. It means it's still in the archive. You're
Yeah,
removing it from the board.
Yeah, I did the mistake. I was like, I don't use this anywhere else. And then when I opened another board, it was all empty. I was like, oh no.
And like as we're early right now, like we don't have this bin basically, but like we take requests really seriously. So sometimes like people write, I deleted a card and it was this, we bring it back until we have a bin. That became the solution. Okay, so I'm thinking that I probably did not miss anything. Was there something that I missed? Oh, maybe one thing that I remember, there is like another way to create boards. So for example, you can select these 3 cards, for example. You can select things and then right click on a card. Yeah, and then create a board. So if you do that, you will be creating a new board only with these 3 cards. So yeah, if you have a whole big board, but you think only one part of them is actually about content, then you can select that table plus the cards and create a new board like that. Yeah. And yeah, and maybe like one important thing is if you feel like your board is like very big, has 100 cards, what you can do is like you can do right click on the desk and do fit all to screen. Yeah, so when you do fit all to screen, it basically fits all the cards to the screen. If you have a big table or like big cards, it's useful, especially to do that before you publish it and share it with someone else so that they can see where they are. And simply like this is the way to go back to the desk. Yeah. And this is like how we created the board. That's why these cards are still on your desk. These things are still on your desk. And like the difference between desk and the board is like you can think of boards as like the projects, some visual representations, and desk is more like is it like your home basically. So many people that I know, and I like if I'm gonna have a meeting, I bring my meeting notes to my desk. For example, I keep my daily things on my desk. But my boards are for like different projects. Like my product roadmap is a board. My go-to-market strategy is a board. My course content is another board.
So then board is really anything that you want to keep for longer, let's say.
Exactly, that's correct. And for desk, if you want to ever clear your desk, you can do right click and if you do clear desk, they will all be gone basically from your desk if you want to do that. Yeah. And with all the desk actions, you can do redo and undo with Command Z. Yeah, exactly, with all the board and desk actions. Yeah, and exactly, organized cards. That's something I always forget, and I always like like not use so much, but there's so many lovers of it actually. So the organized cards is we have a built-in graph algorithm in Scrintal as well. So it's useful if you're like typing so much and you want to see basically the most linked card. You want to organize them according to this graph algorithm. Then you can do organized cards, exactly. And that's gonna put the cards in the center of this canvas, and it will put the most linked card in the center. So if you want to ever see like, okay, where is my thoughts actually tying to, doing more like exploratory research, that's useful.
That's interesting because I never like, because I have used it a few times. Now I think we can talk a little bit more how other things. Because sometimes I have so many stuff because I just like create cards through the links and automatically like jump from card to card and become a mess because one card on top of each other.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I just want to organize it. So I use the organized cards, but I never thought about how it's organized. I was just like, I just can see everything. So that's good enough for me. But then, as I say, like the ones with the highest links, which are usually the entry point cards, usually they stay in the middle. So that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's like really like the bidirectional link PKM users love organized cards feature, but the visual users, people who are coming from mind maps or other whiteboard tools, they never use it because they just want to do it by themselves. But it's, I think, good that we give flexibility for both.
Yeah, I use both actually. Depends on the day.
Okay, yeah. So basically, this was it, and I hope I didn't miss anything. And yeah, so like maybe good to say is like the desktop apps are giving much better performance actually. So I always recommend it to download those if you're going to use it. And even though we don't have a mobile version, like we don't have a mobile app, we work on the mobile browser really responsively actually. And it's a nice way to like write notes on the go. That's how many people are using us. Yeah. Do you want to add something, Bianca, or ask anything?
I think there are questions that are good as well. Because, for example, when I think about using Scrintal for research, because that's the main goal became for research, is that, for example, you have sometimes a paper and you want to see the paper, and then you want to take annotations of the paper, take notes while you're reading the paper. So you can add in the PDF files, but I think we could maybe talk a little bit how it can actually. Do I need to open the paper somewhere else and then copy and paste? How does it work?
So we can. I think the nice thing is that we give this. Like our motto is see everything you need to finish a job in one screen without switching tabs. So if you have a PDF, we can show it, that we can upload the PDF here. Like we can drag and drop or just do / and find the PDF in your archive.
Oh, that is my PDF now.
Exactly. We can just add anything for a trial.
Let me find my notes. Can I add a PDF from somewhere, or I need to download first? I need to download first, right?
I need to think. I think you need to download it actually. You can add images from links, but with PDF you need to download.
Let's find one of mine that doesn't need. Can you just download it?
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now we can go back to Scrintal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And now it's gonna upload it. So after like it's uploaded in a second, you will be able to open the PDF right in Scrintal. Yeah. So now we can press here. Yeah. And now move it exactly. Yeah. So now like the nice thing is you can like decide where to put it, and you can zoom in or zoom out or make this PDF even bigger by resizing the card. And if the PDF allows, so not every PDF allows it, you can simply copy paste the content to the card. Yeah. And it depends on the PDF, obviously. Sometimes like it's not allowed. So right now you can't really do the annotation on the PDF in Scrintal, but I think what many people love is that you can still see the PDF in your note card in the same screen. So you don't like jump somewhere else. And after that, you can still re-download this PDF if you want to. And I think like this move blocks become this one especially useful when you move upload PDFs, because if there is another card that you think the source is this PDF, you can simply duplicate it across cards. So you don't need to re-upload it.
And you can actually have focus mode with the PDF as well?
You can not right now. Like you can go to focus mode with this PDF, yes, but you can't really open the PDF in the focus mode.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only the links, other card links that you can open in the focus mode. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And so that's one of the things that's like everyone like, okay, I need to read papers. How should I do that? And I think the other things that say when you talk about sharing and collaboration, because most like research projects are collaborative projects, like want to write paper together and get the ideas together. So one question that was always in my mind, let's say, who has the ownership of the cards in a shared board? It's like, oh, like does everyone have ownership, or is the person who created the board that has ownership of the cards in that board, for example?
Yeah,
like something that they're still exploring.
Yeah, right now, like the collaborative like access management features we have is like quite basic, but you can, if you want to, you can share this card with me, for example. I think there is no sensitive content there, right? So we can do share cards, and you can just write edge@scrintal.com, yeah, or I'm there, and you can just share it with me. Yeah. So now if you click here, yeah, you can see that it's created by you and last modified by you. You can see who it's modified by. And if you click on, if you click there, yeah, so you can see that you are the owner and it is shared with me. But when you share a card with me right now, I can basically change the whole content. There is no just comment, or there is no let her change the content, but she cannot share it with somebody else. There is no access management that much right now. Yeah. And that's just exactly same with boards.
Yeah, but I think because what's important is usually like, let's say you are in a team preparing a paper or something, but there is always one person which is the first author, who is a person responsible for the whatever is going on.
Exactly.
So, and the question is like, who has the ownership of the cards and to sort the things?
Exactly.
organize.
And now, like, just because you shared that card with me, I'm just gonna do one thing. You can, I think, see my cursor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cards are working collaboratively, and you can see somebody else's cursor, and you can see like basically work as if it's a Google Doc together, which is, I think, very useful.
Yeah, definitely. Because one of the things that I see that most apps in the PKM space they miss is the
Mhm.
ability to share. It's always like PKM
Yeah,
is like my knowledge, but how can we actually co-create or at least
exactly.
share it for other people? So that's
Exactly. Yeah. So like we really wanted to, like, as you can see, we were even pre-launch, but we did bring collaboration features like in the text or also in the board. So if you share a board with me, we can move the cards together. And what we will bring very soon before we launch, like bringing these like cursors to the board as well, because we think it's super important. Like even in research, you work as a team or there's a supervisor, and you should be able to share something. And many people are using this public shareable link, or for example, if they're going to do a client presentation. So people are creating their strategies or plans and share it with an external person, because it's a great way not to show just your end result, but your thinking steps. That's what Scrintal is. Like, it's your thinking steps, and the end result is like, if you want, you can even turn it into a PDF and make it like a linearized end result.
yeah, because even like I see this use it for meetings with the supervisor and things like.
Yeah,
Because you
yeah.
need to say what have you done this week. It's not just like what have you done, but it's like
Mm,
what are the thought, what was the thought process, and especially where are the blockings in the thought process.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah,
that's
exactly. And like now, like I internally we really use it for like complex projects. For example, when we were creating this our like where we want to be in 2 years or 3 years, like brainstorming with the whole team. So we are having like separate cards for every idea or everything that we think we need to cover. So it gives you like this both overview effect, and when you want to go in and zoom into something, there is enough meat to the bone, that there is enough context, there is enough text that you can zoom into the details.
And I think my last question is really about the continuous development of Scrintal, because say there are still more things coming, the sharing
Yeah.
and collaboration. But it's like, what are the like the broader areas that you see? Because I have at least like a list of things that would be very cool to have. That is always like everyone comes with like, I would like this, I would like this, I would like that. So
Yeah.
what are like the broader areas that you see like Scrintal evolving into? You say like the self-onboarding is one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
so what our packages are that we are working on right now, like self onboarding is like soon to be, like next week exactly, actually, to be finalized. And then a UI and navigation revamp is coming for us. Basically a better way to navigate across boards, across cards, and streamlining the UI of language. Is coming for us. And the next steps is we separated the product areas into three. The first part is thinking, like this whole white space part, like anything that you can do visually, add more widgets, change colors, is in the thinking scope. Then there is writing or developing scope, and the third scope is sharing. So for us, the first package, of course, they don't need to go chronically, like chronologically,
yeah.
but the first thing we will work on is thinking, bringing a bit more visuality to Scrintal. That's what many people are asking for right now, like bringing more, how can I say, more functions to visuality, like moving two cards together and grouping them, maybe with a tag.
Yeah.
You know, like working actually visually with your knowledge. And then we will focus like not on writing so much right now, but more on the sharing part. Bring more collaboration features like the notifications or better access management, and even sequence these cards that you create, turn them into a report or a presentation in a seamless way. because we saw that that's really like how the powerful users are really thinking that, okay, now this is what I need from Scrintal to do for me, because they create so valuable information for an external person. So because Scrintal is all about storytelling. So that's what's coming for us.
That's cool and exciting, because
Yeah.
I want some of those things. And one of the things that we talk about visual PKM, let's say, is that we want to be able to actually even like drawings, or how we can create presentations based on our notes, how we can deal with more visual navigation, not just like the links, but
exactly.
so I'm really excited to
Exactly,
learn more
exactly. But like the only thing that we really care about is that the visuality in us is not temporary. So for us, we will make a visuality like grouping things, give them a tag maybe like automatically, but you should be able to search and find those groupings in your archive. And we use those groupings, not like in limiting those groupings or visuality to different boards, just like other visual tools are doing.
They become a informational thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what actually using visuality to work with knowledge means for us.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I don't have any other questions. There's anything else that you would like to talk about before we?
Not really, but like I'm really happy to like receive user feedback, and I'm excited like to launch this product. And I would say like please join the waitlist and please join our community. When you join the waitlist, you will receive a welcome email with the link to our Slack community, and there we're super active. You can even message me and my like other 4 team members, even privately, and that's okay. And we will like increase the number of self onboardings, and we're launching soon as well. So we're very excited and hope you will be excited as us as well.
Yeah. Well, I am excited.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot for sharing the onboarding with me. The first time I did onboard was a long time ago. Yeah. So now there are many other interesting features that came since then. Yeah. And actually, even today, I learned a few things that I didn't know. So that was good, especially the shortcuts. I haven't used it as much. So I would say thanks a lot, and I will still be using Scrintal for I hope for a very long time still.
Thank you very much, Bianca, okay. And I wish you good luck. See you.
So this was the onboarding with Scrintal. So I really hope you enjoy it, and see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.